All right. Back 3, 2, 1. Perfect. Third Wheel Podcast, guys. Happy Halloween. We're joined again by Ronnie, who I introduced very well last episode, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to do this episode first. So, writer and director of Dreamgirl, one of the greatest scripts I've ever had the pleasure of helping direct, and probably the only one I have done, to be honest with you. But Ronnie, it's good to have you on again. It's like we never left, you know?
It's like we're in the same place, man.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And, happy Halloween, everyone.
Absolutely. I'm wearing my perfect pink Halloween attire. I have a question that I brought up with my brother, but he couldn't quite take it as deep as I would have liked it to go.
Okay.
And honestly, I think I'd get a better discussion out of it with you than I think probably anybody else I know on this planet. So, in your opinion, this is just lay the foundation down before I actually ask you the question.
Mm-hmm.
Your top horror monsters. You've always referred to them as the big three, but who are they? And tell us why.
Okay, so we're going to just go with my favorite slashers, right? The kings of the crop. Now, obviously, monster is very broad, but for me, I'm a big fan of the slasher genre, always have been. So we are looking at Michael Myers, obviously. And then we have Jason Voorhees, obviously. And then last but not least, Freddy Krueger.
Mm-hmm.
That would make up what I would say the top three. But there's also a fourth head on this Mount Rushmore that I've always been a strong fan of, which would be Ghostface.
Yeah. So he's actually broken through now your top
Absolutely.
three.
Absolutely.
So what's your criteria for that then?
So generally speaking, it has both to do with reach. So there are quite a few would-be or wannabe slasher icons that come and go. For me, you at least have to break 3 films. If you haven't made it past 3 films, then if you don't have at least one shit sequel that someone squeaked out somewhere on a dime budget, chances are you're not a horror icon.
You know, if you haven't gone to space.
There's only one madman that has that claim to fame. I was waiting for Saw to do it eventually, but guess we didn't get
That
there.
would have been so good.
Would have been, dude. I'm telling you, have John Kramer's brain in like an AI system, kind of like
Well, like Darth Vader wakes up in some weird stall.
I want to play a game.
Yeah, it's like, what the fuck?
Dude, it'd be great. But
Yeah.
nah, so it's one of those things where like tons of sequels.
Okay.
And then also, generally speaking, you have to have some sort of claim to whatever zeitgeist you're working with. And what I mean by zeitgeist is essentially whenever you release in a certain period of time, horror films usually are speaking on or reflections of whatever that culture currently finds scary. So in Halloween 1978, you essentially have the fear of the unknown evil entering and intruding into your safe place, this like neighborhood, suburbia, whatever you want to call it.
So,
Place that is traditionally considered void of these things, but has a darkness that is now breached inside of it.
So let's break that down. For Freddy, that's sleep. Like, in theory.
So Freddy, for me, is this, and this plays into the sort of hyper commercialized 1980s that you get. Freddy is very much a creature of the 1980s.
Yeah.
So what you have is try to take it into kind of twofold. So you hit it with sleep, but let's kind of divulge that a bit more.
Yeah.
You have in the 1980s a lot of individuals, specifically younger people, that are essentially trying to obtain the success that their parents had, and they're tracing what is referred to as the American dream, something that they were sold. Freddy Krueger is essentially this sort of inverted nightmare idea of essentially this older generation that refuses to let kids not only grow up or find the success that their parents did, but is actively demonizing and torturing them.
Yeah.
So I think that's where it is. It also gets played really into the sort of MTV generation, a lot of that like sex, drugs, rock and roll type era. And it spoke to a very culturally defining moment where the youth not only were trying to find or cut a different path from their parents, because notice how all the parents in these movies don't believe the kids, they don't understand what's going on, because to them the world is the way it was. Don't worry about the mistakes of the past or things that may be coming up to ruin your future. Everything's okay. It's either I'm going to drink myself out of it like Nancy's mom does, or I'm going to just appeal to the authority and establishments that I've always had, which is what Nancy's dad does, right? And Nightmare on Elm Street does this flawlessly, by my estimation. Naturally, again, by the way, any of these more broader archetypal things I'm talking about, they are largely exclusively analyzed within that initial film. Yeah. The sequels, you see flavors of it kind of play out, but never to any sort of extreme degree that those original films did.
Sure.
And the one caveat I have to this is Jason. Jason.
Well, yeah, I was going to ask you, because where does he fit into that? Because you can't go that deep with
That's
Jason.
right, you
I'm
can't.
sorry.
So here's the thing with Jason. Jason is what I like to call the successful clone. It actually doesn't have anything original to say. In fact, the writer of it openly admitted. I can't remember who said it to who, but if you remember, Sean S. Cunningham and Victor Miller are essentially the two people that brainchild Friday the 13th, that original movie. And what happened was, 1978 fall evening, Halloween comes out, and Sean S. Cunningham calls Victor Miller and basically goes, "Hey man, listen, this new movie Halloween just came out. It is blowing up in the box office. We're gonna rip it off. I don't know what it's about yet, but I have a name. We're gonna call it Friday the 13th." And that's how it ran.
Yeah.
Might actually have been Victor Miller that said that to Sean S. Cunningham. Now
All these names no one's gonna retain, but continue.
It's okay. But in that essence of being a carbon copy of Michael, what it essentially does, I think, incredibly well is it takes these core tenets of what makes slashers. So you have Final Girl, TNA, gore and kills, and a sort of, I guess you could say, plot light aesthetic, which you need a good aesthetic, and a summer camp is a really good aesthetic. Like there's a lot of nostalgic sort of like atmosphere things you can pull from that, especially with Harry Manfredini's score. He's the one that scored those original, I want to say, like 7 movies. It creates this very enticing and alluring sort of, I don't want to call it a vibe to sound reductive, but that's basically what it is. Like Friday the 13th exists purely off of vibes. And of course, they can't walk back that original movie, also essentially doing the sort of inverse of Psycho, having Mrs. Voorhees be the actual killer and stuff like that. Pretty transgressive for the time. So that obviously made a mark. But no, so Jason is the one that actually is the corporate product child, I would say, essentially, of like where in between Halloween and Nightmare on Elm Street sit. So Nightmare on Elm Street.
This was like an accident almost.
Almost, like, yes. Because it has simultaneously both the sort of existential dread of evil basically forcing itself into what is meant to be a place of like calm relaxation, right? But like it's also not really that, because unlike in Halloween, Jason was directly, instead of being pure evil from the outset, and I know the Halloween sequels muddy the waters with this, but like I said, I'm only talking about the first one. He has no actual rationale for why he is the way that he is, which I think is the best way. He's literally just evil. Loomis nailed it in the very first monologue he gives about him. That's perfect. That is a quintessential example. Jason, on the other hand, was all
the people that neglected him. He just hates.
He was unfortunately on the short bus, and someone drove it straight into the lake, and then no one saved him. So I think there's this sort of layer of, I think, almost understanding. Like Jason comes off kind of like Shrek. He's just in his swamp and he wants people to leave him alone. But everyone keeps trying to come to his swamp, you know? And I think that has a certain element that people really enjoy. But like I said, all of these are like superficial. Right? But it's one of those things to where if you capitalize something strong enough at the right time, it really doesn't matter how superficial it is. It can actually work. And that's why I'm saying I don't necessarily need something to be deep or compelling. What I need you to do is find something and commit to it. One of my favorite things about those Jason movies, specifically 1 through 7, that I absolutely adore, is when he finally gets the hockey mask in part 3, which is the first time he actually dons the iconic look.
Potato sack in the second movie.
That's right. That's
very
right.
Fun.
But that mask, man, you can track the damage throughout the movies as they go on, because it's the same mask. Obviously, part 5 has not Jason in it. That's a different story.
He's getting all punched and attacked back and probably shot at. I don't remember all the way.
Oh yeah, no. Well, like he loses, like he slowly turns into the zombie, basically, that we come to know. And I think that's pretty awesome. I think that's a really cool continuity that they have. And of course, 7 ends with him fighting Carrie, basically a psychic girl.
Well, that's crazy. Actually, now I think about it, do you know how they came up with the hockey mask idea? Because it could have almost, it's iconic now, but that could have almost not happened.
100%. 100%. Yeah. So I actually do not know the story of where the hockey mask originally came from, but what I do find that is really, really funny to me, man, is if you pay attention. And you have to be a real certified autist to even notice this stuff. But like the slightest
Luckily
variation,
we have one on the show today.
That's right. The variations in his mask, man.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Michael's mask. You would assume they just would make it the same time every single time. But each of them have these slight things of like, damn, you can see too much of the eyes behind this one. Or like, oh, wow, those curves are really solid like around his face. So it gives him this sleek sharpness. Or it's like too wide this way. So now he looks like he's like a dummy or whatever. You know, there's so many different variations on how the mask gets made that you would think it would be a settled science, because I don't know about you, but I don't watch a lot of hockey. So like I just assumed hockey masks.
I watch more than you do, but not a lot. But I do watch some hockey. Yes.
So so do they actually wear masks like that, man? Because I'm gonna be honest, people say it's a hockey mask, but I've never seen a hockey.
Oh,
game
I'm sorry,
with
like Jason. No.
Yeah, right.
No.
That's not a real thing.
No,
right?
because I mean, look, I love Jason to death, but that would not protect you from a stray puck. I'm
Not at
sorry,
all.
that
Not at all.
that thing. You know, in fact, if I make a Jason film now, that's what I would literally do: is him trying to attack a hockey team, and it's like, let's test that mask out. That's actually not a bad idea to explore now that you bring that up.
Well, you
I
know,
like that.
in the remake, man.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, is actually, in my opinion, one of the better slasher remakes.
Yeah, I watched it again recently.
I enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it does pretty much. Literally, if it just had Harry Manfredini's score, it would be flawless.
Well,
honestly.
like it captures like the first 3 films in one movie. So,
100%.
Yeah, legit.
in a very effective way, and it also didn't. It decided to cash in on everything that made Jason popular, which was obviously large amounts of TNA, awesome graphic kills, and then having the killer be this unstoppable sort of, not power fantasy, because I'm gonna be honest, if you're relating to Jason, that's really fucking weird.
Yeah,
but
look, dude.
like if you're watching a slasher, the general idea is how imposing and unstoppable he is part of the appeal. And Jason is probably the most brutal and unstoppable he's been in any of the things. Like, he's running fast.
Yeah,
he's like tossing like it's like he actually got all those Boy Scout badges, you know what I mean? Like, he's pegging people on a boat with an arrow from like across the lake. He's throwing axes square into people's backs. I'm like, wow, he did not miss a day, huh?
Yeah.
He's a woodsman for real.
Yeah. Oh, out of the original 3, and we'll get back to topic. I'm gonna keep us focused this time. Dang it! Out of the first 3, which one's your favorite?
Out of the first 3,
Friday
I would
13th.
probably say 3.
Yeah, I think 3 is really good.
I think
too.
3 is really good.
Yeah.
Here's the thing about Friday the 13th. If anyone's going to go out there and dive into these movies for the first time, the last like 30 seconds of every one of these movies kind of just take with a grain of salt, because they do what I like to call the everyone's entitled to one last scare type thing for a slasher. So sometimes you'll watch it and be like really enjoying the movie, and then like the last 30 seconds you'll be like, damn, that was kind of shit.
Yeah.
But don't let that ruin the movie for you.
Yeah, for sure.
It's still a great movie. It's just, it's one of those sort of tropes.
Well, do you feel that way about the first one then, when Jason jumps out and grabs the girl?
No, it's one of the few good ones.
Yeah, I was gonna say
one.
that.
It at least holds up. So like one that I think of all the time that I loathe is and I love Nightmare on Elm Street 1, but whenever Freddy's hand comes to grab the mom and she turns into like a clearly plush doll that get pulled through the door, I'm just like, y'all could have just had him drive away with the car and just go ha 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 ha, ha, and then that could have been it.
That'd been just as
But
good.
it's like, because the effect just did not sell, guys. Like,
Right.
it looked truly awful.
Okay. Yeah.
So like I think of stuff like that, or like obviously in what is it, part 3, they do the like it was a dream but it wasn't a dream thing, and then you have like they redo the part 1 ending with an old lady like that. No, that's a little forced. But dude, everything else in that movie I think is awesome.
Yeah. One unrelated side question: why did we not get another, not Freddy versus Jason, but another movie like that where they just cross over and fight each other?
We did. It's called Alien versus Predator.
Oh yeah,
and it was not good.
I don't count that. Are they setting up another one of those? Side note: are they setting up another Alien versus Predator movie with
that?
This
Definitely looks like
with
Wayland
Badlands?
Yutani.
Yeah, it is.
Android,
It's confirmed.
Confirmed. So
Yeah.
Here's the thing. So Dan Trachtenberg, which is the guy that's done obviously Prey and Killer of Killers, both of which I'm pretty big fan of.
Good.
He has always stated his desire to essentially make, like, he was like, yeah, I always wanted to make an AVP movie, but make it to where like no one knows it's an AVP movie until like the end.
Yeah.
So
That's
obviously
what Prey
he
was.
says that, and then I'm watching the Badlands trailer. I'm just like, so is there?
This isn't on the nose anymore.
I was like,
This
are you
is-
hiding a xenomorph here somewhere?
right,
Like, where is
yeah.
he gonna? And to be fair, I actually hope that's not the case. Not that because listen, man, Alien versus Predator, I get it. Everyone's like, dude, it's like peanut butter and jelly. It's a great combo. No, they're not. I'm sorry. I just
You don't think it could work?
I don't think it could work, because to me they
Dang.
both invalidate each other
Uh-huh.
in an interesting way. So like the alien is the ultimate life form. So in its continuity, it is essentially the peak of evolution that is meant to terrify you beyond belief, because if we were to take just a raw, dirty, scientific look at everything, this is what it would boil down to. Nothing but gnashing teeth and endless like reproduction, right? That's the fear of the alien. Ultimate life form. You can't be the ultimate life form if you get hunted. No one calls Bambi's mom the ultimate life form. Want to know why? Because a hunter shoots her in the face. So if the predator, which is the ultimate hunter, right?
Yeah.
turns that into prey, and that's what AVP-1 does. Like they're out here mass murdering these things, like they're chicken fodder. So,
but
it's like one of those things where I just feel like it just they run counter opposed to each other.
Okay, sure, but you can kill an alien.
Oh, I know you can.
Yeah,
I know you
with
can.
man-made weapons called guns.
Yeah.
Which
a little buckshot to the face.
Yeah, so I don't quite necessarily see.
Well, just to be fair, just so we're clear, and I love the movie, but that was not something that Ridley Scott did originally. That's James Cameron that turned the ultimate life form into a space bug, and I love it. Yeah. But he did turn it into a space bug.
He did change the.
So I'm not saying the ethos behind the creature evolved to maybe even fit more naturally with the Predator.
Because you've
aesthetic.
seen Prometheus, am I right?
Oh, I've seen Prometheus.
Yeah, exactly. So even Ridley Scott has changed his opinion on this too.
Let me tell you, nothing made me enjoy Prometheus more than Alien Covenant.
Ridley Scott, right? Am I wrong about that?
Oh, he directed both.
Okay,
yeah,
and how many aliens die in the ultimate life form experience of Covenant? Where it's the same director, same vision, right? Same guy who went back and got to do more things than he could have done back when he made Alien 1.
Yeah.
Which is your main defense of Avatar, by the way. Just going to throw that out there,
Well, Alien 1's my main defense of Avatar?
No, your main defense of Avatar is somebody coming back later when technology has advanced to where he can accomplish more often. More than he could back when, say, Terminator 2 came out.
Yeah,
so
100%.
Ridley Scott coming back and also making Alien Covenant.
The answer is simple. James Cameron has talent.
Yeah.
And Ridley Scott does not.
Yeah. Anyway. All right. I'm going to go backwards now. So I don't quite agree. Because, in Alien 1, you don't know if the alien died or not. It just went into space. It probably, fluttered its arms and got back to safety.
Alien Romulus, we know exactly what happened to it.
I don't remember that movie as much. I've watched it, and
it's pretty all right,
and I liked
enjoyed it.
Yeah, I just what happened?
So if you don't remember, the original Alien gets picked up. Basically, when it's shot out into space, it encases itself in this like cocoon to essentially survive deep space.
Nice.
Which then has the research vessel, whatever the hell they call it, I can't remember. Basically picks it up, and that's to where CGI Bilbo Baggins explains why he's brought back from the dead for a deep fake. You remember that scene?
I do remember that scene.
That was a little wild.
That's the scene I remember.
Yeah.
I was like, why are we still doing this? I hate that. Anyway.
Yeah, that's the other. But yeah, basically that's they pick him up and then it like breaks out and starts doing some killing. But then I think they manage to kill it.
Yeah.
So yeah, no. So I'm not saying. Listen, I'm not saying that the. So one of the reasons
I will get us back on track, guys. I promise.
One of the reasons why Aliens doesn't bug me as much, as having the Predator basically ritualistically hunt these things, is because I'm not saying that the ultimate life form can't be defeated, especially because if we want to look at the whole general counterexample of what Alien and Aliens is talking about, the idea is while the alien is the peak life form from like a sterile, dry scientific perspective, the idea is this human ingenuity, human spirit, and also the love and compassion for each other is enough to overcome those obstacles. That's a very classic archetype, and I think it works really well in Alien and Aliens.
Yeah.
So if man's able to overcome the ultimate life form, I'm copacetic with it. But whenever you act like, well, actually, don't you realize that in this like two-way battle, there is actually a third party that's like out there, and he's basically it's a little whoever wins, we lose, Yeah. And I feel that way about the movie every time they make it. I love it in the games though, like in the comics, like whenever it's in a superficial sense, I think it works a little better.
Yeah.
It's just for some reason whenever they try to put it on screen, like
I think we just got a bad example. I think if anyone could do it again, it's the guy who's making Prey.
Dan Tranberg, totally.
Yeah. So
I think you can pull it off.
I think we can get a good version of it. It's just unfortunately that it was butchered. So back now to my original topic of discussion, the monsters. So why didn't you gave me one thing where it was like endless sequels, Leatherface got endless sequels, but why is he not amongst your top 3 here? 4 now.
So it's because generally speaking, what I need for any of these to also kind of breach into it is whenever Leatherface himself essentially gets fully explored from every angle. So do you like Texas Chainsaw 2?
I didn't watch anything after the first one. The original first one.
So Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, it's the famous one that has essentially it's mimicking the Breakfast Club poster. And that's because the director, and I want to say Tobe Hooper still directed the second one. I can't remember for sure. But the thing that's absolutely brilliant about Texas Chainsaw 2 is it essentially acts as if 100 Texas Chainsaw sequels have happened already.
Okay.
So like it's like he basically is like, all right, if we're going to run this into the ground, what does it look like? Like, how does this come out the other end?
So he treated it like the 5th film already.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
And that's what makes 2 really good, but it also makes it to where everything after it, I was just like, I mean, bro, he already cut y'all off dead to rights. Like, he made the ultimate sequel kind of already,
yeah.
to where it blended and layered with satire, self-parody, but then also, like, all the awesome shit that you would want to see. Like, Leatherface has, like, this massive radical chainsaw that's, like, over the top and stuff. Like, it's awesome. But it basically played itself out too fast.
Okay.
And I also just, despite Arlie Ermy being in the remake, and I think it's is that Jessica Biel? I think either way, really, really hot 2000s actress, whatever the hell her name was.
You got me wanting to watch the second one now.
You should watch the second one. I think the second one's solid, bro. Like,
sounds great.
It is truthfully awesome.
Okay.
But as far as like Leatherface, he also he doesn't have the sauce, and by the sauce I mean he doesn't actually have enough in the actual, because the fear of Texas Chainsaw 1 and the reason why the original 74 film is so outstanding is not actually Leatherface himself, but it's the family around Leatherface.
Yeah.
And a lot of people kind of galvanize themselves to Leatherface as an individual, to where a lot of the fear and horror of Texas Chainsaw comes from this sort of like bleak, hot Texas air, this sort of like, unlike Halloween, which is about the unknown sort of invading this safe place that we're all used to, Texas Chainsaw is more like you actually aren't aware of the dark hidden places that exist within a place that you feel so secure in. So you're this very average group of teenagers that generally are all about hot off the fresh, peace and love movement of the 60s.
Sure.
And you are under this impression that individuals are
all on board
and well-meaning, and it's institutions and authorities that are the one oppressing you, without realizing that maybe in these blind spots that society has created, there's actually a darkness that's been festering because most people would rather not look at it. You know, it'd be pushed away. And let's just say none of the sequels really paint on that, man. Like none of them really go for it. Like, and I've seen them, like, I don't think they're terrible. But like, as far as like on the quality block goes, like they don't capture an engaging enough atmosphere and what Friday the 13th was able to replicate ad nauseum on.
Sure.
And they didn't have a deep enough archetypal sort of core that Nightmare and Halloween had that allowed them to obviously get tons of derivative reinterpretations on.
So what about something like Pinhead with his
Hellraiser?
Yeah, thank you. Hellraiser. I've only seen 1 through 7, oddly enough, and that was with our old college friends too when we marathoned it. I have actually seen quite a few Hellraiser films, oddly enough, and the game looks pretty decent.
The game looks pretty awesome.
It does. I might get the collector's edition on that. I ain't gonna lie. I don't normally do that, but I might for this.
Yeah, it looks pretty rad.
It does.
So Clive Barker and Hellraiser.
Yeah, we got a guy with the solid vision, similar to like Scream, where it's like it was. I mean, it wasn't him the whole time, but like the first 4, right? Is
So here's the thing with Clive Barker's Hellraiser. Obviously has a lot of fans out there, and I really appreciate, especially Hellraiser 1. Like, I think it's a great movie.
Yeah.
But they, the ensemble nature of how the Deadites work runs counter to what it takes to really push up a slasher icon.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, there are, in a similar way to the Texas Chainsaw family, kind of, they more work as a unit, less as an entity on their own. And I just feel like a lot of these core identity slasher villains are propped up not just by the things around them, but also by their personality or lack thereof. And at the end of the day, Pinhead does not quite stand out amongst his Deadite peers. Although he does definitely seem like he's maybe the leader, more or less, but like it's also more this for me at least. He comes off more like the God Hand in Berserk.
Yeah.
Right? It's basically these entities beyond time and space that are here to propose a deal with the devil, right? A Faustian
But
pact.
they fix that later on as the sequels go on, where he is the standout, except maybe like the 4th one where they did a pink Pinhead. They made a girl. I think that was the 4th one.
Are you talking about there's the
blood that was called Bloodlines, I think, was the 4th one. And they did a pink Pinhead. It was a girl Pinhead, and I was like, oh my God, why?
There's also the straight to DVD ones, and then also the
which actually some of those weren't terrible. Don't get me wrong,
the effects were bad.
Yeah,
that was a given.
Yeah.
No
But
one was gonna.
But they've so many directors too have thrown their hats in the ring on this franchise too. Where it's like, oh well, this time we're online. This time we're doing Revelations and what's the eighth one? I forgot the eighth one, but yeah, it's a character that people keep trying to come back to and build a franchise off of, but it doesn't ever work.
Yeah, in the same way that like Leatherface, dude, they've tried 1 billion times with that cat, and
Mm-hmm.
it just doesn't pan out. Or I mean, he definitely has a legacy, but like for instance, Charles Lee Ray, good boy Chucky, good old.
Oh
boy
yeah, see,
Chucky.
he should be. I think he should be up there with your guys.
So-
now, of course,
so-
this is all subjective, by the way. Like
of course.
none of us are the God hand ourselves.
No, no,
determining.
truthfully not.
Yeah,
but I'll tell you what. So while I love Brad Dourif, obviously, and I think he's legendary as that character. Which, by the way, isn't it crazy that people don't realize that Wormtongue from Lord of the Rings is Chucky?
You're the one who turned me on to it.
Yeah.
In college, like 15 years ago, but yeah, I didn't know that prior to meeting you.
Yeah,
But yeah, some people
cool.
don't know that. Grima Wormtongue is Chucky.
Yeah,
And
Charles
he always
Lee
will
Ray.
be Chucky. I don't care what Mark Hamill tries to do.
Oh, dude, no one even gave that time of day. And one of them was also pretty good. I actually enjoyed the show more or less.
Yeah.
The Chucky show. Yeah.
Oh,
I
I
thought
actually heard
I thought it
good
was
things
pretty
about
good.
that. Yeah, I need to
yeah.
watch that.
Well,
Yeah,
it's-
so why not Chucky? Why isn't he up there? Sequels upon
no, so
sequels.
he has literally all of the metrics other than it comes down to the fact that like I got to cut off the list somewhere. So Chucky's sitting at number.
Why?
Because for me,
No,
I like to just
Mount Rushmore. Yes,
Yeah,
four.
yeah, there's
fine.
4, you
But
know?
but why? Why limit that?
just because if I want someone to also get into the genre, I try to use the franchises. Like, so for instance, if someone's just like, bro, I don't like slashers.
Yeah.
I'm just going to throw them at Scream, bro. I'm going to
Yeah.
be honest with you. I'm going to show them Scream. You want to
Yeah.
know why? Scream takes a lot of care to actually build up its characters to make you care about them. And a lot of slasher films, they'll throw out the characters you had in the last movie for the sequel.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's my go-to.
This movie plays on that. Scream plays on that too. Bringing back legacy characters and stuff.
Of course,
So, yeah.
of course.
Yeah.
So like I think Scream is if I would basically each of the 4 are like my go-to like thing. Like say if I know someone's not really trying to think too hard about it and they're just like, oh dude, I just want to watch like something with some spice and a little bit of awesome gore.
Yeah.
And like how's it go, bro? Friday the 13th, easy money.
Sure.
If I have someone that wants to like see a really good foundational start to all this, Halloween, easy.
Yeah.
I have a direction to take them. Child's Play is like one of those things where like unless someone says, oh yeah, I was scared of dolls when I was younger, but chances are if they're scared of dolls, they've already seen Chucky.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like it's not really a direction. It's like Chucky, Hellraiser, a lot of these are genre features that like, yeah, of course, once you've dived into this stuff, totally would recommend at least checking out because there's a laundry list of you know,
for sure.
different slashers out there.
Let me check something. Camera's about to cut off in 1 minute. You have any 1 minute thoughts before we reset the cameras on this? Continue, Chucky.
Yeah, so I guess my last minute thoughts would be Chucky and Leatherface
Mm-hmm.
and dude, I like John Kramer. I'll say it. I like Jigsaw. I think he's awesome.
Yeah, for
but
sure.
at the end of the day, those are all like very hyper specific, but all meet the category long sequel
for
list,
sure.
tons of gore, stuff like that. But at the end of the day, I would just keep it with those core 4 as far as like recommending to people. And then hey, if you like those, dig further.
Well, I'm actually I'm happy then because I can still ask you this question. I was worried we were crossing over into you already answering it before I got to ask it, but I actually think we're at a good spot now. We're gonna take a 5-second break and then reset the cameras, and then I'm gonna ask you this. So pause, just tap it. Last clap of the day. 3, 2, 1. Perfect. All right, we got all the classics out the way. I just forgot about Chucky till you brought him up. Not because he sucks or anything, but just because I was like, I totally forgot about that. So, do you just think movies today, killers today, like there's a lot of different killers now that they're trying to add to the mythos, and what are they missing that makes them not a classic? Because I would argue there's some really good ones, like.
Right now we have Art. He's the only one that's truly contending in the 2010s. So as far as by my estimation, you had exactly 2 contenders that try to make their way onto that Mount Rushmore, that list of classics. And that would be one who hasn't killed anybody. His name is Jigsaw, the charges officer. They killed themselves, clearly. They chose. Or Art the Clown. Thing with Art, though, is he needs to stick to that landing. If that 4th movie is pretty good.
You'd put him in there?
I'd grant him it if
Oh,
that fourth movie's
please.
good.
Please.
If the fourth movie's good, because here's the thing, he needs to stick that landing.
Yeah.
And then if he does it and then walks off into the sunset, legendary.
Yeah.
I'll totally be down.
Yeah.
Because he's also, like I said, the only one from the sort of more modern zeitgeist. Because
Whoa.
Saw at this point is played out in damn near nostalgia.
They just keep finding more ways to bring him back and more flashbacks and all this other stuff.
Well, hold on, that's part of the charm.
Yeah.
Yeah, get
Sure.
80-year-old Tobin Bell to put on a backwards baseball cap. And, bro, he's like a teenager now. They're the greatest shit ever.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. So for me, so like the ones that I've seen try right to take off. I think of The Collector. He got 2 movies. They either lack an initially compelling foil.
Yeah.
So like no one's gonna remember the burglar from The Collector, bro. No one's gonna know his
That's
name.
the name of the movie. I don't know
You never seen The Collector?
No.
The Collector and Collection.
Okay.
There's 2 of them.
Very creative title.
Yeah.
I can't believe it's not on your top 4.
So The Collector, it came out in like, I want to say 2010s.
Move over,
Maybe
Freddy.
it's like the late 2000s. But
Yeah.
he essentially, there's this cat burglar that burgles a house that just so happened to have a psychopath in the middle of doing his crazy stuff that he does. So now we kind of have this Home Alone cat and mouse scenario to where the
Nice.
dude that broke into the house is now trying to figure out a way to break out of the house because this guy's coming
That's
after
kind of
him.
cool.
It is cool. So the
Yeah.
first one, solid concept, interesting setup, decent idea. But the problem is the sequel just went straight to schlock.
Oh yeah.
Straight to schlock, just overexposing all the gore and just making as many interesting traps as possible.
Yeah.
And that's also another thing. You had the Saw clones, bro. Like everyone was trying to be as smart as John Kramer or as like Tormund, like diabolical. Like,
Okay.
oh my god, look at these things that he made.
Let me ask you this, and do your best because I think this might be hard for you. If you could dumb it down so hard, what about Freddy makes him legendary? Just I heard all the stuff before, but give me just layman's terms. Freddy
specifically?
No, all 3.
All 3?
Yeah, just give me 1 or 2. If you can, do your best. Before ChatGPT, that you were the person I would ask stuff like this.
So, all 3 of them, just from those core 3, right?
Yeah.
I would say to boil it down, what makes them legendary is they all take a core concept that audiences at the time were familiar with, but then managed to add a flavor or a twist that made it exotic and new.
Yeah.
So if you look at Halloween, specifically, you look at stuff like, because obviously what Halloween is super inspired by, or is both Texas Chainsaw or Psycho, Alfred Hitchcock Psycho, right? If you look at these, they essentially took the concept and idea of deeply troubled, mentally unstable individuals that essentially snapped.
Yeah.
Something that is scary to the layman in the 60s and 70s, right? What I love about Michael, though, is they decided to throw all that into the trash. They were just like, no. Sometimes what's even crazier is what if this 5-year-old kid wasn't abused, didn't have some sort of, McDonald triad classic FBI explanation for why he snapped. He just had darkness in his eyes and just did it. That's terrifying.
Yeah.
That is that sort of electricity that I think really connected with people. Same thing with Freddy Krueger. Freddy Krueger is this kind of cat to where like the idea is if you stop the killer and kill him, then you are safe. Well, what happens if that movie already happened and stopping the killer just made him stronger?
Yeah.
That has a uniqueness to it. And then Friday the 13th obviously plays into the fact of we're assuming that there's oppressive evil force that's being malevolent is this crazed killer named Jason, when in reality it's his mom.
I would also argue having a gimmick really helps.
Totally.
Like Freddy, Dream Killer, fingers, Jason, ski or hockey mask.
But that's the thing.
Michael.
Jason's gimmick didn't really come online until later. You know what I'm saying?
That's true, 'cause the third one,
hockey mask first. In fact, he didn't even really have a machete as his standard weapon.
Because he wasn't even in the first movie.
So that's why I really had to like core down to like those.
And I appreciate
things.
that.
Yeah, it's like it's
So-
really just that one electric element that I think just happens to not only make it stand above the rest, but then also engages with people's imagination.
So there's a movie franchise that I'm sure you've seen, Smile.
Yeah.
I think it has a lot of those elements that you're talking about, and that's why I kind of tried to have you water it down as best you could. It's hard. But I think what you described is in those movies, there's only two. Now, one of your criteria was there has to be 5 more of them, which, there's going to be a third one, I'm sure.
Sure.
Which should come out actually probably next year. We're at the 2-year mark, which is when they've been kind of coming out. But after that, they could do more, I'm sure. And I think it would be good. But they probably shouldn't call it Smile. It should be the Smile trilogy and then Teeth 4, 5, 6, something like that. Something stupid.
So the thing about Smile, man, is a lot of it's so I like Smile 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Just off the rip.
I actually think they're perfect.
Perfect's a bit of a stretch for me, but I do really like them.
Yeah.
And the thing I like the most about them, though, is actually how they pull from J-horror. So a lot of these ghost or curse movies that Japan obviously made super famous. So The Grudge, The Ring, stuff like that. They are essentially sort of baked into the mythology and the way that the psychological horror in Smile works. And to me, I think it's super refreshing because obviously growing up in the 2000s, we were inundated in all of these really just god-awful remakes of these Japanese horror films. And even the ones that were like good that people will stand by, like, for instance, the first American Grudge was actually made by the guy who made the original Grudge.
Okay.
So that's interesting.
Cool.
Still not as good as that movie, but interesting. Or like some people will still swear up and down that the original Ring remake is actually pretty okay.
Sure.
But like that doesn't save you from the One Missed Call remake or like any of this nonsense that they started to pump out at the time. Or like, I mean, it's not really a horror movie per se, but like the Old Boy remake. God help me.
Yeah. With Josh Brolin.
Yep.
Oof. See, I can kind of keep up with you on these. Okay, but what's Smile missing? Because, you say not perfect, but I mean, shoot, dude, they're as close as...
So what Smile is missing is the fact that it's, like I said, it's leaning into what is a bit more of a cerebral psychological horror as opposed to a more direct... So here's the thing. It cannot be understated how much of a sort of appeal in a fan base you can get whenever you have a singular iconic figure to sort of pile drive behind, right?
So like, Freddy, we can all pile drive behind Freddy.
That's right.
Yeah.
Michael Myers, bam, baby.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? To where like Smile, because it's this amorphous, like, yeah, sure, Samara from The Ring, people know the girl with the long black hair that can crawl out of the screen. Like, everyone knows what she looks like, but bro, no one's really going to bat to get excited for Samara showing up on screen. It's more about the dread of when they show up. And I think that's another purposeful distinction on why Smile probably won't capture the zeitgeist. And a lot of slashers, by the way, are having trouble doing this even in modern day. Like even the sort of re-releases of these sort of classic icons and ideas aren't necessarily capturing the audiences the same way that they did back in the day.
So you're talking about the actual Friday the 13th remake, the actual Halloween remake, the actual...
Correct.
Okay.
No, like, for instance, the only one that I think remotely did do anything, and I'm partial to these films because I actually really like them, but like the Halloween reboot trilogy is the closest you get. It's the closest you get. The rest of them basically floundered at the first one that they tried to release, and then it never happened again, So why that one was able to do it outside of the other ones, that's a conversation for a whole other day.
Yeah.
But what it...
Next Halloween.
Yeah, that's right. What it did emphasize, though, is that even if you take the same recipe, I don't even think they know how to really make them anymore, man. But yeah, so Smile, dude, is just not going to capture the same sort of demographic or audience because, like I said, it's more cerebral. It's more in the back of your brain, kind of like that chill you get down your spine instead of the stab that's going straight into your chest.
I think they're so good that they should be remembered at least. Maybe not to the same level as Freddy or Jason, but it's like in 5 years, like we're gonna have more horror films that also stand out, but it's gonna kind of push these Smile movies kind of toward the back. And I'm wondering what are they missing that keeps it from reaching that level of like, man, like they're still making Screams. Like literally, like 7 comes out this year, next year.
It's next year.
Yeah, and that's pushed and carried through, and they're still bringing back the same actresses and actors, and they look great.
Here's the one thing about Smile, and the reason why I think that you're going to run into a bit of an issue is because, in a similar fashion to where the 80s and 90s were basically inundated in all of these cash-in sequels, so like I Know What You Did Last Summer, or like your Maniac Cops, basically like we're just gonna make schlock because like these are selling, right?
Yeah.
you're going to get lost in the noise a lot of time. And I think Smile is the unfortunately falling victim to the fact that it can't. Smile 1 and Smile 2 are coming out in a time to where the idea of taking horror concepts and making them allegories or metaphor for like processing grief, like Babadook does this, Hereditary does this. Like it is just like the bog standard approach to how we do good horror writing these days. So I think, unfortunately, the more special elements in regards to how Smile does its world building or its scares and stuff like that is kind of getting lost in the overall noise of like people watch this and go, okay, so it's another movie about some chick who basically hasn't processed trauma that she's working through and is going to work through that with some sort of demon, you know?
Yeah.
And like, again, I like movies like that. Like, Talk to Me. Great movie.
Sure. Oh, good movie.
Pretty awesome. Yeah.
Did you watch Bring Her Back?
I did.
Yeah, that made me uncomfortable.
Yeah,
but it was good.
The turning your arm into beef jerky scene really got me. Let me
what
tell
really,
you.
I mean, what really got me and Maddie especially was the chewing on the knife thing. We're like, oh Jesus, stop!
Yep. Terrible.
Yeah, no.
Terrible.
That is a weird phobia I have of just teeth falling out and losing teeth. But
dude, well, that movie's pretty diabolical. I'm not gonna lie.
It's
I
sick.
watch a lot of horror.
Yeah.
Seen a lot of exploitation films. Seen a lot of new French wave stuff. That's like like Martyrs, High Tension, Irreversible.
Let me tell you,
we're talking about.
I don't like Martyrs, and it just makes me so uncomfortable. I hate it.
It should make you uncomfortable.
Yeah, I know that, but I don't like it. I just don't. I can't do it. I can't.
Well, the other ones I mentioned aren't great either. So
yeah, I'm just gonna skip.
Great by some ways.
Yeah, for sure.
By certain metrics.
Can't do it.
Yeah, well, I don't blame you. They're very they're bleak, mean-spirited movies that, by and large, almost seem self-indulgent and trying to unnerve you, but not because they want to scare you, but because they want to disturb you, and that can work in certain metrics. But then other times you get the VHS Halloween skit that we were talking about.
I'm really sorry you didn't like that one,
dude. I'll tell you what, man. There's parts of me that, like I said, I could almost like I really liked the final one, and there were elements of some of the other ones that like I was meeting. It wasn't VHS viral. I'm not saying that.
No, for sure.
I'm just saying that like I wanted it to bat a little higher for me. But yeah, well, I was just bringing it up because I had that one with the one that we both talked about with the kid taking pictures for Halloween thing.
Kid print.
And, yeah, and then it just goes way too deep in the paint.
Well, that's the only one I don't like, and I actually think it hurts the movie because it's so tonally inconsistent from the rest of it.
Does not match at all.
No, and that I don't know what the hell that director was smoking, where he was like, this is good. Like
A+ work.
He likes this. I think he actually likes seeing kids get hurt like this.
Maybe, just maybe.
Can't do it.
Yeah, no, terrible.
Yeah. Another character I thought has kind of held up pretty well is Annabelle from the Conjuring franchise.
Sure. Yeah, she has a lot of pop-offs.
Movies pretty much terrible except for like 2, and I heard 3 was okay. Like Annabelle Comes Home was like, it exists.
I like the 5-second Patrick Wilson was on screen. Yeah.
Okay, I didn't watch. Is it similar to Jane Silent Bob reboot where what's his name's on screen to literally unlock the Clerks set
Not
and then
that
just
bad,
goes away?
But yes, kind of felt like that.
Yeah. Did you watch Reboot, by the way? Unrelated. Jane Silent Bob reboot.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was okay.
Oh no, I do it with all Kevin Smith's films where it's like, I'm glad he's making films. I'm glad he's happy. But anyway.
Yeah.
Unrelated. Continue. Annabelle.
Oh yeah. So Annabelle, man, really, unfortunately, Annabelle is kind of The Conjuring.
Yeah.
And I really like Conjuring 1. I even think Conjuring 2 is pretty good.
Oh, 2's great.
They ushered in this new era of slop horror that I absolutely cannot stand.
Yeah.
Like,
no, you are 1,000,000,000% correct.
Like we're talking about. It took something. So, like for instance. Right, if you compare The Conjuring's most, I would say, obvious influence, which would be the original Exorcist movie.
Sure.
There's this level of like dread and disempowerment and sort of this grit to it that doesn't come off just nasty and exploitive, but like sincerely scary for me. To where The Conjuring started to almost sanitize everything that it was doing, to where I felt like they were turning each of these movies into like a theme park ride. That like I was just locked in, and I'm gonna expect at least 20 jump scares, and we're gonna have this is the time to where the creature goes like they kept remaking the clap scene,
they kept trying to do that. Yeah.
And I was like, this is a little played out, guys.
Yeah.
And that's just how I started to feel about all of them, because they all have the same thing with, and he is very, very popular right now. So I'm not trying to shit on him. But Mike Flanagan, I'm starting to feel a similar way on. And
Quite literally,
I like Mike Flanagan.
One of her friends brought up, like, you like Mike Flanagan? I was like, hey, I've only seen Hush, I think. And then I watched, like, the first 9 episodes of House of Usher. And then Maddie watched him without me, and I got butthurt and quit watching it. But
so with him, he made Hush, which I really like.
good movie.
He also made Oculus, which I really like.
Oh, you tried to get me to watch that in
Karen
college,
Gillan.
I think.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I really like that movie. But since then, with the Haunting on Hill House, the
Another show, right?
that's another show, and then he did the Doctor Sleep,
Okay.
the sequel to The
I
Shining.
need to watch The Shining, actually. I haven't seen that either.
That's a pretty good movie.
Yeah.
Very
Stephen
different.
King hates it.
Yeah, it's very different than the book, which is what makes Doctor Sleep so interesting, because it's adapting a book that's a sequel to, obviously, the book Shining. And if you know anything about the book Shining, you know for a fact that it's not the movie Shining. So the movie Doctor Sleep works as this weird, like, I want to be a sequel to both.
And it's good?
It is mostly good.
Okay.
Ewan McGregor's really good in it.
Well, he's literally Obi-Wan Kenobi.
That's right.
He's fantastic.
That's right. He's goated.
Yeah, you can't.
But the thing about it is Mike Flanagan's horror. He's basically, he reminds me of he feels like the J.J. Abrams of horror movies.
Okay.
He can make a clean product
Sure.
that's going to appeal in the sensibilities that you want. So if you just want some spooky shit, Mike Flanagan.
Yeah.
If you just want some like glossy looking action, J.J. Abrams. You know what I mean? Very light though, very fluff based, and it's one of the things to where it feels like he has now become like his style is like a brand.
Yeah.
And I find that deeply uninteresting.
I love that. I'm good. That's going to be one of the clips. Is that we just said that last 2 sentences? Fantastic. You summed it up like perfect. I'm like, oh, cool. That's going in there.
But no, seriously, that is how I feel, dude. So like Mike Flanagan and I understand James Wan.
James Wan.
James Wan.
Yeah. Aquaman.
Right. Right. That
not horror films.
Yeah, horror films. But what I'm saying is like, well, I can appreciate the initial conceit for The Conjuring, especially because it seemed like horror movies were kind of all dog shit.
Yeah.
Right around before that movie came out. I just look at it though, and I'm just like, man, what Scott Derrickson was cooking with Sinister was way better in my estimation.
Okay.
And I'm also a pretty big fan of Black Phone. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, that's a good movie.
I think the sequel's pretty good too.
Yeah, we need to go watch that. I've heard mixed things, but I usually match your opinion. So if you see something, you tell me it's good. it's probably gonna be good.
It's pretty good, man.
For the most part.
Like for all intents and purposes, it's not only deeply satisfying, but like I love it when a horror movie, and Conjuring 2 does this as well.
Yeah.
I love it when a horror movie can take you through something truly horrific, but then manage to end with a sort of light optimism.
Yeah.
I think that's really impressive. Like the movie's about literal child murder, and it ended, and I was like, I feel pretty good, guys. I'm not gonna lie. Not because I'm twisted, but like because the message of the movie was inherently less focused on being mean-spirited or angry or aggressive. Even though those elements are definitely in there.
In Black Phone, it's about a kid learning to stand up for himself and fight his own battles. You know?
Yeah. I mean,
it's like, kid died in the process, children, but, not mean-spirited. It was just like a coming-of-age film.
Mm-hmm. Also, what's
Very
kind of
dark.
odd about it is how it tackles Christianity. Fun fact.
Oh.
That whole his sister praying to Jesus thing actually carries forward into the sequel in ways that surprised me for modern Hollywood. I did not see it coming. When it was over, I was like, Jesse.
Is that Jesus?
Yeah, I was like, Jesse, are they talking about our Lord and Savior right now in a non-derogatory way?
Yeah.
Hold on, let me buckle up. I'm ready. Let's go.
Do we need to leave this theater? Or?
I'll let it ride out.
Yeah.
But no, like seriously though, I was genuinely impressed with the angle they took with it, and also I really like Ethan Hawke.
Yeah.
I think he's kind of awesome. He's also like one of the few, you would assume you play a guy that wears a mask, right? All these modern actors would be like, bro, write a scene to where the mask is off so people can see my face and I can make money.
No.
Ethan Hawke's not about that, bro.
No,
not at all.
That kind of makes me think of that Dread movie, 2013.
Carl Urban.
Yeah, he was like, keep it on.
Yep.
You know what? I'm not Sylvester Stallone. I am the law.
Dude,
he didn't do all that.
Terrible.
He's just like, keep look, I want Dread. I'm gonna make a Dread movie. Now who recently is like that? Where they're like, nah, dude. Oh, Pedro Pascal in Mando. Like that.
Yep.
That's the only reason we get any scenes without his helmet is so we can, because he's a jerk and doesn't want to wear the dang mask.
He also gets, he has to touch women when he gets nervous.
We don't want, you promise not to bring up politics on this show. Just kidding.
No, dude, Pedro Pascal. What's crazy is I actually liked him as Reed Richards.
Mm-hmm.
And
I like that movie a lot.
Yeah, I like it a lot too. And too bad it bombed.
Yeah.
It's one of those what we like to call too little, too late.
Yeah,
things.
yeah. I'm not gonna say too bad, bro. Like Disney tried to appeal to everybody, and in turn they've appealed to no one, and now they're paying the price.
100%.
And I am for it. I'm sorry. Like the people that you pandered to are now canceling their subscriptions, and the people that you scared off are not gonna resubscribe.
Yeah.
And you're gonna have to. This is the bed you made, and you will sleep in it. Yeah. You got to go to bed at some point. So anyway. That's not horror related, but it is a nightmare for Disney. So we keep that in the show.
Every time I see Pedro Pascal in a new movie, that's a nightmare for me.
Especially where, yeah.
I'm just like, bro, please go away.
Well, especially when he's acting opposite an actress, you're like, he was just touching her the whole production time. Yeah. So I don't know. Mando season 3 really disappointed me.
Oh, me too.
I was so sad because 2 was even leaning in that direction where it was like, oh, dude, they're setting up the Mando.
Yeah, but no one cared when Luke Skywalker showed up, bro. They immediately forgave it. Who gives a shit? Bill Burr's in this. Like,
I know. And I agree. So people overlooked it in 2, but it's hurting. It's hurting the rest of the show.
Yeah,
it hurt Boba Fett. It hurt Ahsoka. It's hurt every show after it. And it's literally Kathleen Kennedy. It's literally her every time. Anytime all her movie ideas failed. So then when Mando did good by accident because they got Jon Favreau, they were like, she's like, oh, cool. The streaming wars. Let me sink my claws into this show. And Jon Favreau was getting ready to quit. I don't know if you read that, but he was getting ready to walk off.
I can imagine.
Yeah. And he was like, let the franchise burn. But I don't know. They must have paid him off really good because he came back for 3.
They gave him a fat check for Mando. And
bigger than him.
That they're making.
Because that's a big boy right there.
That's a big lad. I love how he had to convince Scarlett Johansson that the scene to where she headlocks him between her thighs in Iron Man 2 is required. Yeah, this is part of the plot, bro.
Well, she was nobody back then, so she couldn't say no.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Did she do anything before that?
I think she was still a decently large star. Let's see, Iron Man 2 came out in like 2010, so we're talking about...
I don't think so, dude. I don't think she was in anything really where she could just start making demands. She can now.
She's 100%. She's the highest grossing actress of all time.
Well, she told them whenever they decided to release Black Widow not in theaters, I'm going to sue you, and they settled with her. So that's a power move if I've ever seen one.
100%.
She couldn't have done that during Iron Man 2 days, bro. They would have cast her so fast. They did that to War Machine.
I'm trying to think.
Yeah.
Well, Terrence Howard asked for that.
Divide by I.
Yeah, dude.
1 times 1 is
Howard.
2.
Yeah, dude.
He wasn't doing that though back then. I think he got paid more than Robert Downey or something. There was something contract dispute. But
I know Edward Norton was like that.
Exactly. So they recast bigger actors than her at the time. So she was not in a position to be like, hey, yeah, actually, make my butt look flatter. I'm sorry, she wasn't in that position. Especially back then too. That was way before Me Too. So women in general in Hollywood were not about to start making demands.
Yeah. You ever watch Scream 3, right?
I love that movie so much now.
Yeah, it's great.
I hated it in college.
Me too. Fun fact, aged like fine wine. And it was basically them calling out Harvey Weinstein using his own production label.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Amazing.
And it was interesting because it's the guy from Aliens, Bishop, the actor who plays Harvey Weinstein. Yeah. And he's like, it was a different time. It was old Hollywood. I was like, that sure the fuck is not. That is Hollywood today.
Yep. There's a lot of Maureen Prescotts out there.
Oh, yeah.
They were having that conversation before anybody.
Uh-huh. Yeah. And then now we're shifting back to horror. You brought that up. Scream 3, I love how much they leaned into how dumb her having a long lost brother was. Where 100%. It was like, and there was like, well, it's a trope where we got to connect it to the first movie. It made me. Did you like Maxine?
Yeah.
Yeah, I hated because I think it was that trope done wrong where it's her dad. That really was anticlimactic for
reveal.
Me. Yeah. That was so disappointing.
To me, so it kind of came off more as, and it was not disappointing to me because it was anticlimactic. It was
unpredictable.
It was the predictability. It felt more like Ty West and Mia Goth basically going through their emotions of all the repressed childhood that they had, and they just worked that shit out all on screen.
Oh, she didn't work anything out. She took that into Frankenstein, buddy.
Yeah.
So you know what this movie was missing? 7 dead guys railing me, but they're one person. Oh, is that Guillermo del Taco over there? Come on, put me in that movie.
Del Taco, man.
Yeah.
Now I'll tell you what, that's one auteur.
So you didn't typed that out wrong. You actually typed Del Taco to me.
Yeah, I do that on purpose.
That was funny. All right, continue. Sorry.
Yeah, no. I'll sometimes say their names wrong.
Cool.
On purpose to make fun of them. Even though, by the way, I like Del Taco. Like he's made like Pacific Rim. That's goated. That's like one of the best, like, not anime films I've ever seen in my life. Like blew my mind when I was younger. And of course, I love Hellboy 1 and 2. Yeah, I said it. Hellboy 2, Golden Army. It's goated.
Why I hate it? Why hate it at all?
Some people are cringe, bro.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's bad.
But like,
you're listing off all these unpopular opinions I don't agree with. Anyway,
but the what do you call it? The one film by him that I really wanted to rewatch, and I haven't brought myself to it because I hated it when it came out. But Crimson Peak with Tom Hiddleston. You ever see that?
No.
So it mirrors classic 1930s cinema from like the way that it's edited to its fade outs and the way that it's shot in terms of elaborate dresses and stuff. But the problem is unlike 1930s cinema, which runs at a nice brisk hour and a half most of the time, to where every scene usually propels the plot in some fashion or way, Crimson Peak felt like it was about 2 hours. It felt like 2 hours and 20 minutes. I don't know if that's how actually long the film is.
Yeah.
But it felt like a bunch of meandering to get to a point that I already figured out like 40 minutes in. And I was just so bored.
Yeah.
So bored. But wanted it to be good.
Sure.
He's like one of those things, man, to where like sometimes he makes an awesome movie. And then other times he...
You know, a problem I had with Maxine, we got like 5 minutes left. A problem I had with Maxine, I think Mia Goth was very sidelined in that movie. She did not get to flex her acting ability, her character arcs, all that stuff. I really thought she got sidelined, her character and her as an actress. Because like Pearl, obviously, it's all her. She carries that movie.
Yeah, Pearl's the best one.
And Ty West knew that.
Yeah.
Like literally Superman's in it, but nobody remembers that, And then, of course, in X, like she plays two characters. Maxine really, I feel like, dropped the ball on putting her in it and finishing her story out. She had the one scene where she kills that mugger, and then she has the very last scene where she just regurgitates lines from the first movie and then shoots her dad. So I was very disappointed in that. I mean, yeah, her dad coming back was anticlimactic to me and predictable, but I think the biggest crime was Mia Goth got sidelined. Like her and
I think it's just more of it's one of those things where I think in concept they clearly had fleshed out X and Pearl so much that when it came down to like kind of tying this all in a bow, it just comes off as sloppy. Like the execution wasn't quite there to where like it's so crystal clear what X and Pearl are doing as movies. That because at the end of the day, these two are kind of meant to be this sort of fusion thesis now with a new 80s aesthetic, right? For that, sleek sort of drug, sex, rock and roll kind of look to it. And also, the one thing about it that I thought I would do more for being called Maxine, I'm going to be honest, I kind of thought we would dive deeper into the sexploitation and porn industry that was going on around that time. And they decided to like have that as just like with their sort of commentary on, I guess you could say Christian authoritarianism, if you just want to like say it broadly, right? It just all felt surface level. Like it felt like that they didn't really dig deeper in any of these aspects, which is crazy because, like I said, I think what X and Pearl does, I mean, it works on multiple levels. You can think about, like, for instance, it's crazy how Pearl obviously is talking about pandemics and stuff like that because of the 1920s with the bird flu, I think it is, at the time versus when it came out, during COVID. Or I think that's when they were writing it was during COVID.
Sure.
So I think the sort of multi-layered commentary on that just all flows more naturally. And then also its identity. So like the Technicolor sort of Wizard of Oz stuff with Pearl is so self-evident on the surface. And then with X, you have your sexploitation and Texas Chainsaw influences in front and center stage. And all of that stuff works so well to where like when you get to Maxine, it's like a little Miami Vice, a little bit of column A, column B, column C, column D, and things start to get missed. The soup gets messy.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%.
That's essentially how I feel. I didn't dislike it. I enjoyed it enough, but
I was just disappointed.
Definitely. Well, compared to the first two, it's clearly weaker.
And like that could be a thing I did where like you talked about, you're coming in with these expectations. Like maybe my expectations were high, and like maybe they were at a point I was never gonna be happy no matter what. But I really was like, this movie's very flawed. It's got a lot.
It does. It has
a lot
of
problems.
It has a lot of holes.
Yeah.
But it's also one of those things, man, to where I think very, very rarely do you get a director actress combo sort of commit to screen
Yeah.
the type of story that they were doing, because it's a very ambitious story.
For sure.
You know? So, like, it's one of those things where, like, I'd rather them still swing for it, even if they didn't play a full good game. You know what I'm
I
saying?
get you. Yeah. And you're right. So, okay. Well, I think the cameras went out again. So I think that signals we are out of time. Ronnie, thank you so much. Happy Halloween, audience. But thanks for hopping on, dude, and giving us your time. Maybe sometime again next year we can do this again if you're up for it.
Oh, absolutely, brother. Thanks for having me. And happy Halloween, folks. Y'all take care.
See you later.
Bye.